All right, kick drum sound. Let's talk about how to process kick drums, especially when they're recorded with two mics in kind of a rock live worship situation. And let's get started. This is what all the drums sound like with their processing on. Here we go. Sounds great. Sounds awesome. I already did a video on snare, so if you're curious about that snare tone, check out the video I did this week. And let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to pull the plugins off of these drums, and let's listen to what's happening. So this was an acrylic kick drum. It was a 22 by 16 inch kick drum. We had it mic'd with an Audix D6, just kind of halfway in, halfway out of the hole, and a Beta 91 by Shure on the inside, kind of right in the middle of the drum. That's a very common setup for music like this, and for a good reason. It sounds great. We're not going to have to do too much EQ to get the mics to sit where we want them in the mix and do the exact thing that they need to do. So let's listen to the kick-in mic by itself. No processing. I do have a drum bus and a drum smash bus that these are going to, but other than that, no processing on the channels. How about the kick out? Sounds great. Okay, so one of the biggest things I want you to take away from this is I want to process the kick drums together, meaning I'm going to bust these out to an aux right here. I have it right here called kicks. And we're going to EQ these as if they were one mic together at the same time. Because when we EQ something, we are fundamentally changing the phase relationship of that source. And since we have two mics on the same source, if we start EQing the mics independently from each other a lot, that's going to create some weird timing and overlap and cancellation things in a lot of our frequencies in the context of the kick drum sound that we're really not going to like. We want the mics to work together and be in phase and be coherent so we can have a big, punchy, tight kick drum sound. So let's pull up. I have an SSL channel going on right here. Let's pull it in, and I have both kick mics selected. I'm going to gate these with the expander on this plugin, and let's go super fast release, pull the range up. Let me put it in gate mode, see what that does. That sounds great. Really tightens up those kicks a lot. Cool, I like that. All right, let's pull in some EQ. So I got a high pass. I'm going to go like 40. I don't want to cut those super lows of the kick drum. I want to let those exist. Okay, and the first thing I want to listen to is I want to listen to where I'm going to cut for the low mids, kind of the mid-range frequencies. Usually there's some cardboard boxiness at like 500-ish hertz. So I'm going to pull a wider Q here on this blue band and see what we're working with. Yeah. Yeah, right at 500. So let's cut that. And you can hear already that sounds so much better. Okay, let's try maybe something in the upper mids, maybe 1000, some kind of telephony frequencies. Go to tighter Q here. Yeah. So let's cut that a little bit. Cool, and then the only other thing I'll do here is I'm going to boost that fundamental 60 just a little bit to push some low end. Cool, and that sounds great. Okay, so before we compress this, I want to add, I have this F6 going here, and I'm just using this to have one more EQ band to cut out some of those low mids at 200 right here. You can kind of hear that. And I have this copied over to the kick out as well. And I am doing a high shelf here on the kick in that I'm not doing with the kick out. Shelves, usually I don't find too much of a problem with shelves, especially when I'm using them like this. I just want a little bit more punch out of that kick in mic. And I'm just going to let the kick out be the kind of the beefiness of the drum. So altogether with just EQ, this is what it sounds like. Just kick in. Just kick out. Cool. Sounds great. Okay, let's go ahead and compress these. I'm just going to use the SSL compressor. Let's go 5 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, something like that. And super fast release and just dial in this threshold. That is. Looks like we're clipping a little bit, so I'm going to pull this output in. Yeah. sounds massive. Sounds great. All right, so here's all the drums. And that's how you do it. If you want to learn about the snare in this mix, I did a video on snare tone. It came out this past Tuesday. Check that out. Let me know what you think. If you have any other questions or want to see anything else, let me know. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll catch you next time.